Check 1, 2.
Morning, Ed. How are you? Morning. Me too. I'm earlier. On your room. I think more people should be here.
And you got to sit right here. Our camera's rolling. It's up to you if you want headphones to hear yourself. You got a chair right there. All right. I got 5 questions, 10 minutes at the most.
How many minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I don't want to keep you away from the residents.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
Let's go.
Yep. All right, everybody. Our first town manager candidate is Seth Lawless, and we'll have 2 or 3 questions. Keep it short so the residents have a chance to mingle with everybody. The first question, Seth, is what do you know about Fort Myers Beach?
A lot of work to do. The island's pretty torn up. I got here Saturday. It was my first time being in town, but it was apparent very quickly the extent of the damage, and I was surprised by the extent of the damage. And realize now that it's going to be a big rebuild job.
So explain to the folks watching what your skill set is to tackle such a big rebuild.
Well, you got to use your partners, obviously. You got to communicate. You got to have a good staff. And the communication piece is real critical. Residents want to know what's going on. Property owners want to know what's going on. Business owners. Everybody wants the latest information. And after a storm, stuff changes so quickly and frequently that it's super important to make sure everybody has the latest information.
Right. And what experience do you have with permitting process? That's a big issue right now for folks. Small town, a lot of permit applications are coming in and people are waiting for permits. What's your experience with that?
Well, we went through Hurricane Irma in Isla Morada when I was there. And we had a backlog of permits. Everybody, wanted to get ready to rebuild and move forward. And so we implemented an expedited review process there to get stuff out the door and did some of the work on the back end in terms of their requirements that would normally, be required. And it's a balancing act. You got to protect the interests of the community, the neighborhood, the environment, but the property owners have a right to use their property as well. So it's a balancing act.
What's your interest in taking the job, wanting the job here in Fort Myers Beach?
I just felt like it was something I could do. It was a good fit. I've done it before in another community, at least once. I've been through a few storms, but Irma was the biggest, and even so, the task you're facing here was larger than what the Keys went through in Irma. But I've been in 5 communities, now 6. I'm in my 6th, over 30 years. So I've seen a little bit of everything, and had experience in just about all aspects of municipal government.
And finally, what would you like to say to the residents or the town council to convince them you're the right person for the job at the right time now, because it's so huge? This is going to be the biggest decision
Well,
they make.
we'll see. I'm here on an exploratory trip. Like you said, I don't know a lot about the island. So it's reciprocal. They're here to find out about me, and I'm here to find out about the community.
Great. Thank you so much for your time and good luck.
Yeah, thank
All right.
you.
That's Seth Lawless, everybody, one of the 4 candidates that are here for town manager. And this is going to be a little unusual. I'm going to put the mic down and see if I can grab the others. I'm only going to keep them for a couple minutes because it's more important for them to mingle with the residents that are here, and also for you guys to listen. So stay tuned. We're going to try and grab somebody next, but don't want to pull them away from them mingling with the residents. Was kind of thinking there would be a bigger crowd of people here from the community. Probably about 30 people here for the coffee and the donuts. And then actually what's going to happen after this 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock session is they're all going to interview individually with the town council members. I don't know if it's for 15 or 20 minutes or something like that. And then later at 1 o'clock, the town will have their regular town council meeting. So I'm going to put the mic down and see if I can grab another candidate and go from there. Stand by. All right, we're going to try and get Jeff Wilkins over next. If you have a chance to go onto our website, yes, Sam, you need to get over here. They'll be here till 9 o'clock, and there's free coffee and donuts. The full town council is here. The 2 town managers are here, the town clerk, and some of the residents. But if you have a chance to go over to our website, Beach Talk Radio News, you can see all the information, the resumes on the 4 candidates for town council. For town manager, sorry. And I guess what's going to happen later today after the individual interviews is they're going to rank the 4 that are the finalists, and then they could go into negotiation with the number 1 person that they choose, and the town manager could be in this room, or they could decide to continue the search and look for more resumes. It's open until filled, so. That's what the plan is. And I'm going to keep trying to grab the other 3 so you all out there have a chance to see who the candidates are. Stand by.
Holly, along with Keith Wilkins as interim town managers, and thank everybody for coming out this morning. You can easily tell who the candidates are because they're the ones in the ties and the coats. Most of us wear beach attire. So, but I thought that for the benefit of the citizens that are here to kind of meet briefly, at least introduce them. This is alphabetical order. So we have Andrew Hyatt right here in front, here visiting with us. We had a chance to meet the candidates last night. Steve and I did. Spent some time. Obviously, you know, they have lots of questions about the community, so at least we had a couple hours to spend with them to give them some background and everything. Seth Wallace, right here in front. Jeff Shoebridge, right here, and Keith's brother, Jeff Wilkins. Now you know. Anyways, for the public, you know, we're spending all day today. It's a very important decision for the town. We're doing this just to give some of the citizens a chance to come in and meet and greet. We'll do one-on-one interviews for about 3 hours this morning. The official town council meeting begins at 1 o'clock right here in the council chambers, and they have not only interviews to do with the candidates, but general business to do. And then we'll kind of go from there. So mix and mingle. I know Ed wants to try to get a few minutes with each of the candidates if he can. He's got 77,000 followers or something on Beach Radio.
You didn't know that till Saturday.
You're right. But thank you, members of the public, for coming out. I just wanted to kind of introduce the folks that were here. Thank you. Mix and mingle.
Jeff, you mind if I steal you real quick?
Yeah, go for
All right, everybody. That was Chris Holly. He is the interim town manager along with Keith Wilkins. Jeff Wilkins is a candidate. They are not related. He was joking. And Jeff Shoebridge is one of the candidates standing right out in front here. You can see him in the suit. We're going to grab him real quick and ask him some questions. Yes, we are at Diamond Head. I know there was a question. We're at Diamond Head on the lobby floor. Jeff Shoebridge joins us now, everybody. Jeff, thank you so much. I don't know if you want headphones to hear yourself. It's one way or the other. It's
Well, as a former radio guy.
no way. Oh, we got to hear a little history of that. I know it has. Let me hold that while you put them on. You can tell me, former radio guy, but apparently you didn't have headphones back in the day.
Well, we did, but they weren't.
I think you just go like this. Flip it down.
There we go.
There you go. Oh, turn that one around and you're good.
It will work.
Yeah. There we go. Perfect. You tell me how the volume is and I can turn it up or down for you. You good there?
That is good.
All right. Tell me about the radio.
As many of your listeners may have read, I did grow up in Cape Coral.
That's right.
The Cape High was the only high school in the area, and I understand we've got about 6 now.
Yeah.
And I was part of the television production course that they had, and WLEQ out of Bonita Springs was looking for some weekend help. So 2 of us went over and we worked at WLEQ.
Is it still a station now?
It is a station. However, it is no longer smooth jazz.
I see. Is there a smooth jazz station left in the country these days? I don't think there is.
I think you need XM for that.
Yeah, right.
But no, they're now. I lost my position there when they got bought out, and it got converted to what still exists, 96K Rock.
Oh, there you go. Very popular station here in Fort Myers. So, what do you know about Fort Myers Beach? Tell the people watching what you know.
I know that. Well, most recently, I grew up coming over the bridge, spending weekends here. Obviously, it's changed a lot since I was in high school. That's 30 plus years ago. The last few weeks, I've made a few trips down. My fiance, last week, we had to pull over to the side, and I had to give her a hug. She was breaking down, looking at the devastation that Ian hit here. And it hit us hard. For a couple of reasons. One, I grew up in this area. 2, Hurricane Ian was supposed to hit the town I currently manage.
Mhm.
And it makes it very real. This was supposed to be us. So Fort Myers Beach is one of the greatest little beaches. My previous position in Minnesota, my town clerk, who is now my replacement, she's the town administrator there now. She comes to Fort Myers Beach every year
Mhm.
for vacation.
Mhm.
This is one of those places where us local, I say us because I grew up in Cape Coral, but local people love it because it still has that hometown feel. Visitors love it because it gives them that tropical Florida beach climate, but we're not Clearwater Beach.
Right.
We're not Daytona Beach. We're Fort Myers Beach. It's a small town that has great possibilities. And right now, this small town is hurting.
So it's a major task. This is the biggest decision the council is going to make to this point. What experience do you have that can lead them through a major rebuild? Every structure, every street, their houses gone, their businesses gone. It's huge.
Well, one of the things that in listening to the community in the town hall meetings, listening to the commission or council meetings, one of the biggest struggles that we have is people. We have to have people in places. And I know the HR team is doing an amazing job right now of rebuilding the staff.
Mhm.
It's not our job to build the houses. It's our job to allow the houses to be built, to facilitate that recovery. And you're right. It is a Herculean task. And what we need to do is we need to put the right people in the right places. We need a building department that is going to be responsive. We need a building department that is going to look at the permits that I know the interim town managers have done a great job in bringing a lot of things back in that were contracted out.
Mhm.
My personal belief is that having a building department that's on the other coast makes it very difficult to make things happen. And I know that there's been some pushback from residents about how long it's taking to get permits. And there are a lot of things that need to happen quicker. Now, there's an old saying, all things in government that happen quickly are generally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do things right. We want to do things equitably. But I think to do that, I believe that there's going to be an increase in staff. There's going to have to be an increase in staff, and we have to have the right people in the right places. The town manager's job is to organize all of that, to recognize those needs. I know that our infrastructure survived fairly well. They've put a lot of money back into it. Our water, our sewer is working well,
Mhm.
but we need to get lights back on the streets.
Right.
We need to get, as you said, 90% of the houses are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need to facilitate people being able to build that, and we need the staff in place to facilitate it.
So much of what is going on now, we're so dependent. The beach is so dependent on Tallahassee and begging for money. Basically, do you have experience with the politicians up there and how to pull money out of them?
I have some good. I've had experience in Minnesota, and Florida's a completely different boat. But when I was in Minnesota, I was able to get several concessions from the state road rebuilding, undergrounding for utilities for the town that I was in. I ran for state representative in 2010. I lost profoundly.
Yeah.
I was running against an incumbent.
Never easy.
Running against an incumbent as a no party affiliation candidate. It's not an easy thing to do. But it's, I have a very good reputation or a very good relationship with the group that I have in place now in Pinellas County. And I know we have a very strong group here. We have a lot of advocates in Tallahassee. So, and yes, we will be asking for money from Tallahassee. And there's a lot of things that Tallahassee should be helping us cover with this. We were ground zero.
Yeah. Why do you want the job?
The short answer, I want stability. I want to be able to have, I have a 2-year-old daughter. Believe it or not, I'm 54 years old and I've got a 2-year-old daughter sitting at home. And I think it would be absolutely amazing if she could graduate from the same high school I did, to have that stability, to have that. And I believe that the candidate who is successful in rebuilding Fort Myers Beach is going to have the ability to stay long term, which is unheard of in our line of work.
For sure, for sure. Lastly, tell the residents that are watching that couldn't make it here today why you're the perfect person to take over this position.
Well, the shortest answer. It's not. It may not be the politically correct. It may not be the technical skills answer. I'm coming back home. It's where I grew up.
Gotcha. Jeff, thanks so much for coming on. Congratulations on your being a finalist, and good luck.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate it. Didn't mean to take you away from the residents too long, but thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's Jeff Shoebridge, and we're going to try and grab the other two candidates before we let everybody mingle with the town council. We have like about 35 people here now. So far, you've heard from Jeff Shoebridge and Seth Lawless. Jeff Wilkins and Andrew Hyatt are next. I'm really looking forward to talking to Andrew because I watched that YouTube interview he did with the newspaper, and I think you guys are going to like him. So far, two of the four candidates, you'll be able to go back and listen to those and see what you think of those two candidates. So stand by. I'm going to see if I can grab Jeff Wilkins now. I don't want to grab him away from the residents, but if I have to, I have to. Stand by.
Okay.
I'm gonna have you sit right here because the camera's right there.
Got it.
Oh,
Camera's on.
Yeah. Do you want
Okay.
headphones or not? I don't want to. Sometimes people like them. Sometimes it's a pain. But I'll put it.
Just to hear you.
Okay.
Maybe hold that.
On that, it's they actually have right and left on it. It's really a trickery kind of thing. There you go.
Boy, this is the most challenging thing.
Jeff Wilkins, everybody, and if you get nice and close, people out there can hear you nice and loud. And just for the record, you're not related to Keith Wilkins.
I am not not even remote.
Okay. So the first question is, what do you know about Fort Myers Beach?
Wow. You know, just what a challenge you have to face. You know, what a great destination in a great community. And then now just faced with this unplanned, devastation.
What in your experience makes you the right person to deal with a monumental task of rebuilding?
Yeah. I've dedicated my career 27 years to local government. I've led in fast growth, slow growth, redevelopment. So I've seen multiple communities in different stages. But I think my experience in strategic planning, capital planning, financial planning, bond finance, intergovernmental relations. I think you can package it all together. Plus the team, we've lost a lot of staff here, and so just building that team, keeping it going, and focused and motivated. So all my experiences in my various communities that I've worked in, I think combined make me a good fit for the position.
Every structure, every house, it was a car cemetery and not a car survived. The whole thing. Had you ever seen anything like that? And in other communities that you've worked in?
Not where I worked in. We did, growing up in the Midwest, it's usually the hazards are either tornadoes or floods. So a number of flooding events, but you didn't have the life, life losses like you have here. But in Illinois, Utica, Illinois, completely devastated. As far as the population, about half of what Fort Myers Beach full-time population was, and I did work there, but the county next to us, and you start to see that and what they've gone through.
What do you think of this town council? You had a chance to mingle with them at all or meet them, or
just a few of them, but
okay, all right.
of course, watch
because working with politicians, you're always one vote away from being kicked out of your job. It's just a line of work that you're in. It's you're beholden to the next election. How do you deal with working through that and still stay in it. We need somebody in this position long term. It's a huge project.
Well, and that's what I'm looking for, is something that is long term. One of my positions that I was city manager in Buchanan, Michigan, they had gone through 6 city managers in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So just coming and building the trust with the council, actively listening. What is that future state? And then, of course, the public, making the public happy. So we got to bring the stability, and I think I can do that.
What about your relationship with Tallahassee I mean, we're so beholden to funding right now. We need so much money from them, and the mayor's going up there tomorrow to try and knock on doors to keep the money flowing. It's we lost parking revenue, the tax. You don't know what's going to happen with the tax base. So how do you work that too?
Yeah, by talking with Keith and Chris both, it seems as if they're very they're very supportive, and we have a great caucus here.
Mhm.
That represents the area. So keeping them in tune. My experience with the state legislators is as well as U.S. Congressman. When I was in Illinois, Denny Hastert was the Speaker of the House until he fell on his downfall.
Yeah.
But so definitely used to working with caucuses and what is our legislative agenda, keeping the grants, keeping us on their radar, because you can slip off the radar.
Why are you the perfect person to take over as the town manager here in Fort Myers Beach? Let the people watching know that.
Yeah. Again, I think it's my approach. That's a lot of it, is building teams, whether it's teams for internal initiatives or if it's community initiatives, building the teams, making sure we're working in the same direction, building that collaboration, and then keeping us all motivated and hopefully celebrating at the end all together.
Yeah.
Want to make sure everybody knows that they've been part of it, and they know what their role is and how they can contribute.
How long do you think the rebuild project is from what you've seen?
It could, as far as the areas that have to raise, the highest, I mean, that could be a few years at least.
Yeah. And lastly, tell the people that are watching why you should be the person that the town council puts in this position.
Well, again, my experience, I think what I've shown is just adaptability. I've been a county administrator, a city manager, assistant town manager, and fast growth and also redevelopment. So I think that's it. I've shown adaptability and stability. Everywhere I've gone, I've brought long tenure and stability.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time, and I didn't mean to take you away from the residents too long, but good luck. Good luck. Maybe we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jeff Wilkins, everybody. That's 3 so far, and we have Andrew Hyatt is the last candidate. I'll kind of wait for breaking the action of his chatting with some of the residents, but you've seen now 3 of the 4, and we'll see what you guys think after all 4 candidates have been on the show. Got some more residents that are walking in, probably about 40 residents now. The entire town council is here. Both town managers are here. Barbara Hill is here. The Steve and Cindy Johnson, Scott Stafford, excuse me, too much coffee. And some of the staff also here, the new finance manager. So everybody having a chance to mingle with the 4 candidates. Again, the process is after this coffee session is over at 9:00. The town council will interview them like it's separate tables, like breakouts. So there'll be one council member without a finalist, and they'll interview them, I think 15 or 30 minutes each, and then they rotate, and they're going to do that right up until either 12 or 1 o'clock. And then at 1 o'clock, the town council will hold its regular meeting and do the regular business and go from there. I think that they could, if they decide at that point, there's going to be more public comment on the town managers. There's going to be more public comment in the 1 o'clock meeting. So if you weren't able to come today, during the town council meeting at 1 o'clock, there's going to be public comment specifically for the town manager candidates. It's such an important decision. You should all voice your opinion one way or another. If it's not at the meeting today, you should send them all an email on your thoughts. They do read them. They do take your input seriously. Or come to the meeting and use your 3 minutes to voice your opinion on whether you think one of the 4 candidates should be chosen or they should continue the search. And then they might actually even start negotiating with one of the 4 later today. So I'm going to try and grab Andrew Hyatt. Again, you can go to our website, Beach Talk Radio News. I feel kind of goofy sitting over here in the corner by myself. Everybody out there chatting. And who's he talking to over there? Well, he's talking to himself right now. There's nobody sitting there. but it's like being at home. I talk to myself a lot. So I'm going to go try and grab Andrew and round out these candidates. He's holding court over there with Jim Matterholt and a few of the residents. So stand by. All righty. Andrew Hyatt is our last candidate. Then you guys will have a little bit more information than if you weren't here. And Andrew is joining us now. We've had your YouTube interview with the newspaper up for quite a while. It was a nice lengthy one, and I can always, these are trickery. There you go, Andrew Hyatt. So the first question I ask everybody to try and keep it consistent is, what do you know about Fort Myers Beach? What have you learned and what do you know?
Well, obviously, the most obvious thing that comes to mind now is the hurricane, post-hurricane and where we are, where the community is. I'm familiar with the community as far as the old Florida style and the old Florida the pace that it had down here. And that's pretty exciting for me. I like the old Florida style. I realize there's going to be some changes coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's things that are being forced because of the hurricane. But we got a community here that loves their community, passionate about their community. Just read some of the comments on your website, your paper, and it's good. That's the pulse. That's how you understand and you communicate. And I think we've got some good communicators here. And I've kind of learned that since I've been a candidate.
Yeah. Ground zero for the hurricane, major damage, no car survived, building, every structure and building just damaged. I mean, you go down some streets now, houses are gone, 5 or 6 on each side are gone. It's a major undertaking for somebody that we need to have in there that is going to last a long time because it's going to take so long. Have you had experience with major storms like this that totally devastate a community?
Well, those managers can be counted probably on one hand that have had that kind of experience. My experience has been with Matthew and Irma in a community I have, also with that building collapse. I'm the only manager in the country that's dealt with something like that. That's the worst is that non-hurricane related disaster in the state of Florida. So I've had that experience. When we got that call at 1:30 in the morning, we had to act then.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to find bodies. There wasn't really a lot of plans.
Sure.
For collapsed buildings. So we had to come with that on the fly. I mean, and all of a sudden now all the other building residents were concerned about what their building is ours going to collapse now, what's going on. So as far as the experience of a complete devastation, no. And those managers are few and far between, obviously, but I think, with our experience and with the town and the employees and just the connections I've had in other places and the experiences I've had with dealing with the state and the county and international governments actually during a collapse has benefited me tremendously. And, of course, National Incident Management System, which is a requirement of FEMA, and dealing with FEMA. I know FEMA inside and out. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You don't want to know FEMA inside
right.
out, but once you do, you make those connections, you understand a little more about disasters.
Yeah. The other thing that we're kind of beholden to now, the mayor's going to Tallahassee tomorrow. So much of what goes on down here is dependent on the funding from Tallahassee. Do you have experience working with the politicians that can help bring more money to Fort Myers Beach to help?
Absolutely. One thing we did in Surfside, and of course I pulled on my experiences, obviously, was we got a $2 million appropriation for a stormwater project. That was not a natural disaster. That was not an issue like we're dealing with here. Also over there, working hand in hand with the governor and the governor's office in Surfside with the collapse to get the building taken down, to get what we needed there from the state resources, the state, Kevin Guthrie with emergency
Yeah.
management. Everybody probably knows Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin's a wonderful person. Those contacts. I think the contacts I made and my other contacts in Northeast Florida and some of the other parts of this in Southeast Florida, those are some pretty heavy hitters. And so, I hope to be able to call on them and reach out to them and kind of, put the pressure on as it is to get it done. But it sounds like a lot of the wheels are starting to move. The wheels of justice grind. They just grind a little slow sometimes.
Right.
So it just seems to be something that, even though it's been 6 months, there's a lot of background work that has to happen, but it sounds like there's really some switches about to be turned.
One of the interesting thing about your position, the town manager's position, is you also have to manage the politicians. You're one vote away in the next election. Everybody runs on change, and
Yep.
the town manager's position is usually the one that gets the easy pickings.
Correct.
How do you manage the bosses?
Well, that's always an interesting comment. One thing that I always say, especially as an election is beginning to happen, if there's new ones, and I use this term very respectfully, we need to train them. We need to help them understand the charter. I'm not saying they don't know the charter, but sometimes when they sit in a room and they sit with the staff and they sit with the manager, they see that the team is wanting to welcome another team member. If we try to just educate, we try to make sure that they know as much as possible. Communication, not just with elected officials, but sitting down with people like you and sitting down with residents. I have a true open door policy. I don't know of a time that I can think of, except unless I was extremely busy in a meeting, that I didn't just stop what I was doing, even if I was in a staff meeting, and go speak to a citizen, because that whatever they've come to me about, whether it's an elected official, whether it's a resident, that's the most important thing to them. And me putting it off for 2 or 3 days or a week is not going to make it any
Right.
better. It's not going to solve the issue. It's not going to maybe calm the anxiousness of anybody. So I have a true open door policy. I return my calls. I'm not a big emailer. I'm an old school guy. I want to talk to you. I want to look at you. I want to understand a little more about what you're about.
Yeah.
And once you learn the community, and you kind of start to work like a well-oiled machine. But you're exactly right. Yeah. Anybody that's been in this industry understands that dynamic with an elected official and a manager. And sometimes it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Why do you want this job?
Well, the challenge. This is a unique challenge. If you go around looking for disasters and places that you need to find a place to go to work. No, but I think I'm a boots on the ground, hands-on kind of manager. I'm not a manager that sits back and wants all the glory and wants to get pats on the back. That's for staff. That's for people who are doing the work. I'm really a behind the scenes kind of guy. I'm a shy person by nature. I don't like the limelight. I prefer to stay in the shadows, but I do what I need to do to get things accomplished. And I think that this has got an opportunity to really improve the lives of an entire community.
Right.
more than the normal position that would, because you go to a city, you pave a few roads, you put some street lights up, you build a new community center. That affects a small group. This will literally affect everybody's life.
Yep.
And even people we don't know that haven't even come to visit yet. So this is about an economic development project. This is about home. This is about getting people's homes back.
If you read, like you said, some of the comments, you'll notice permitting gets a lot of so how do you fix that?
Well, that's one thing we had just been working on where I was in Surfside. We have been expediting that process over there, making it where you can do it from your house, making it where you can get your permits approved in a timely manner. Time is everybody's enemy, and it's only because we get anxious when I didn't get a phone call, the doctor hasn't called me back about my test. We all get anxious about that. Well, it's about having that contact person. And of course, the manager is always somebody they can call, but there's always that person that they can reach out to, and we need to make sure those people are available. Those people, the hours are appropriate. I've extended hours before to make sure people can come earlier. Towns open up, the front office opens at 9:00. A lot of contractors go to work at 7:00.
Mm-hmm.
So we opened hours. We opened at 7:30. We kind of compromised because we can come in, people can get permits. We tried to make it a simple you can go as far as to make appointments, and so you're not standing in a line. So we don't have that. So there's some things it's the 21st century. You can do things computer related. You can do things that are so electronic nowadays. Everything you do, you can't. Social Security Administration, everything's electronic. Nothing. They don't want to talk. They don't want to see you face to face. That's okay if it's getting accomplished. But this is kind of a double-edged sword. You have somebody they can come talk to, but you also should be able to do it electronically where people can just do it from at home and submit their applications, submit their plans. It should be an easy process because a lot of people, they might have somebody in Orlando as their architect.
Mhm.
And so they got to come here to do it. No, let them submit electronically from Orlando and speed that process.
And last question, I'll let you get back to the residents. Let them all know out there that, why you're the perfect person to take this job over and take them into the rebuild, which could be a decade long. By the time everything's done, it's certainly going to be years and years.
Well, I'm very young at heart. I have a desire to make an impact. I'm a true public servant. I've served 2 beach communities, small beach communities, who all are, every citizen thinks their issues the most important. So you have to deal with them delicately. I've dealt with the ecosystems of the beach, with what we have to deal with in the state of Florida. I've dealt with collapses, the collapse of the century, the collapse of the history of the state of Florida. I've also dealt with 2 hurricanes, Matthew and Irma, over in Northeast Florida, with dealing with the follow-up. Dealt with Wilma when I was in Deerfield Beach. I wasn't the manager there, but I was part of the team. So if you lived in Florida, no, you don't always get a complete devastation. Mexico Beach comes to mind, obviously here. But you just have those experiences. I have those experiences and contacts to draw upon, which make me a little unique.
Thank you so much, Andrew Hyatt.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck. Good luck.
You. Nice meeting you.
We might see you again. Thank you very much. And Andrew Hyatt is the 4th of 4 finalists for town manager here on Fort Myers Beach. They're mingling with the residents that have showed up. Hopefully, you guys had a chance to try to keep all the questions. I knew Andrew had a little bit more experience with beach towns and with storms, so I tried to keep all the questions the same, so you can kind of put it all together and decide for yourself whether you think you have a candidate that's worthy of the next step with the town council, and let them know. You can email them, or you can post comments here, and I can share them. And I think the process is, I know the process is at 9 o'clock, they're all going to do one-on-ones with the town council members. The 1 o'clock meeting will have public comment where you can comment on the candidates, and then they're going to rank them. And one of the things that Keith and Chris said to me Saturday after the show was, if they decide that the 4 that they have aren't, going to be, not one of them is going to be chosen, they shouldn't rank them, and they should just keep the process open. There's no sense in ranking them if you're not going to pick one. Just continue the process. So it really is going to be interesting to see if they do rank them later on today, and if one of the 4 candidates that were in the finalist batch is going to be chosen. And then if they choose one, they go right into the negotiation of the contract, and you could have a town manager within a month, a new town manager within a month. So hopefully you guys found this helpful to the process. And Steve Johnson there. And we will keep you posted. Later on today, we'll carry the town council meeting live at 1 o'clock. I'm going to leave the camera on for a few more minutes, and then we'll bust out of here and get ready for the council meeting at 1 o'clock. Thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully that helped.
And in light